We are going to begin a project in which you and a small group of people will measure the height of St. Joseph's Church. You may wonder why we would do this. Well, this project will allow you to apply the topic we recently studied called trigonometry and may help answer the question, when am I ever going to use this? Even though you may not measure too many churches in your lifetime, you may have a job that requires you to measure very large objects, or one that designs tools to help someone else measure these objects. How are you going to measure the church? You are certainly not going to climb to the top of the church, but you are going to use measurements and math. These are the tools you will have available for use. Your brain, of course. I will provide you with a large tape measure, a piece of string about a foot long, and a protractor, and you will use your own calculator, pencil, and paper. Now, before we go out measuring, let's review a little bit. We solved similar problems in Chapter 8, including finding heights of trees, flagpoles, cliffs, and other very tall objects. How would we find the height of the tree shown? We need to figure out what parts of this diagram we could measure. This is not a small tree, so we will not climb, and our tools are not long enough to use in this way. Can we measure the shadow? Do we need the shadow to measure a certain length on the ground? Can we measure any angles? Another important question we must ask ourselves is that of right triangles. Can we use a right triangle to represent this situation? The answer to this question determines the possibilities for solving for the height. Lastly, how much information do we need to solve for a side length of a triangle? Here are some answers to these questions and some other ideas for you to think about. If I haven't made this clear yet, we are not climbing any trees or churches. What parts of the triangle shown can I measure using the tools listed earlier? The only side length I can take measurements for is the one on the ground. I know the angle at the base of the tree is a right angle, assuming the tree is vertical, and I can measure the angle of elevation from the ground. Because this is a right triangle, I have lots of options for solving the triangle. Now it's your turn. You and your group will find the height of the church from the base of the front door to the top of the steeple, not including the cross at the top. You may assume the top of the steeple is directly above the front door. Please make sure you keep your ideas and answers within your group and make sure your answer is reasonable.